Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Above Africa Stories from the Wild, the podcast where we talk about all the things safari, wildlife, wildlife photography, conservation, and I'm excited to be back. This is episode 8, and today we've got a cool episode talking about one of my favorite safari destinations that I've been to in the past year, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is Mashatu, Botswana. So stay tuned because this one is going to be good. Okay, everybody, welcome back. For those of you that's tuning in for the first time, my name is Francois Fourie. I'm a professional field guide and wildlife photographer based here in sunny South Africa. And we travel across Africa and beyond, going on photographic and privately guided safaris. And we take our guests to these amazing, beautiful places that we, I guess, call work, which is a pretty amazing thing to be able to call work. Anyway, we're going to jump into this episode and we're talking about Mashatu, Botswana. Now, I always get the pronunciation wrong. I've always said it's Mashatu, but then when we were there, they say Mashatu, so I'm a little bit confused. So maybe you guys can help me out. Is it Mashatu or is it Mashatu? Anyway, I'm going to go through what it's like to go to Mashatu. I'm going to go through the process of how we plan it, where we go, what you can see there, what the properties are like. And we are actually going back there next year in September for an exclusive, small exclusive groups of photo safari at Mashatu, Botswana. So stay tuned. I'm going to give some details a little bit later on. Okay, so how do you get to Mashatu in Botswana? Mashatu is situated in the south of Botswana in an area called the Tuli block. So it's not Botswana as mainstream as you would always think about Botswana. When people talk about Botswana, they immediately go, oh, the delta, waterways. This is slightly different. It's a slightly more arid region of Botswana down south. Forms part of a transition zone between the Bushveld and the Kalahari. And then as you go further north into Botswana, you obviously get to into the delta area. So it is a different experience than the norm. It's not Chobe, it's not the delta. It's a different experience, but it is incredible. I cannot emphasize how amazing game viewing is in this place, especially predators. It is really prolific, and the only place I can sort of, kind of, maybe compare it to is Mala Mala in South Africa. And the interesting thing is Mala Mala was involved with Mashatu for a very, very long time. So there's maybe some correlation there. Anyway, when you go to Mashatu in Botswana, there's two ways really of getting there. You can drive there, which is a very long road if you want to go from Johannesburg. You can actually fly to Polokwane and then take a road transfer to the border post there, border post, and then go over the river into Botswana and then drive to the lodge, which is another 40 minutes if I'm not mistaken. Or you can drive all the way from Johannesburg to the Pondrift border and then cross the border there. That is a good 7-8 hour drive. But the way we tend to do it most of the time is we fly. So we don't really fly from OR Tambo because there's no scheduled flights that go from OR Tambo to Botswana. We go from an airport called Lanseria Airport, which is about 30 minutes away from OR Tambo. It's not far. It is an international airport. It's really cool because there it's very easy to clear customs and get through passport control and all of that. Super easy to get through there. It's a small airport, so not a lot of people. It's not too busy. It just makes it a lot more easier than flying out of one of these big international airports. So we fly from Lanseria to an airfield called Limpopo Valley Airfield, and you land there, and I always find it very funny because it's literally, the building is smaller than a house. And you land there, and there's a lady and a gentleman sitting behind a counter, and they stamp your passport, and in you go. So it's quite a experience just landing at Limpopo Valley Airport. Very easy. It's about an hour and a half flight. Usually you fly with a caravan, depending on uh, if you charter, you can charter a different flight, but it's usually a caravan. Very, very comfortable, and an hour and a half flight. Land at Limpopo Valley Airfield, and you are in. Mashatu. So it's not you land outside the reserve, still have to drive in. You physically land in Mashatu, and your guide will be there to pick you up from whichever lodge you're going to. Okay, so it's a very, very easy drive. And from the airfield to your lodge is not really any more than 30 to 40 minutes, depending on which lodge you are going to. Now, there are 4 different lodges that you can use in Mashatu, Botswana. So I'm going to run through them quickly, tell you which ones we use, where they're kind of located, and why we use them. I'm going to start off with Mashatu Tented Camp. Now, Mashatu Tented Camp is quite on the edge of the reserve. I wouldn't say on the edge of the reserve, but it's quite far out of kind of that core area of the reserve. We don't often use the tented camp. We prefer to use Mashatu Lodge, Tuli Safari Lodge, and then Euphorbia. All 3 of them are slightly more higher end, but the tented camp is really beautiful. It's really comfortable. We were there, we saw it. It's a beautiful main lodge. The staff is amazing. They've got a very cool boma actually that overlooks a small little stream that runs out, and there's a watering hole on the other side where game often comes through. And you know, the tents are very comfortable. It's a very basic tented camp with bucket showers in the back, but it's really nice. It's the only thing that I found with a tented camp is that it's quite far removed, so sometimes you have to drive quite far to get to the areas where you want to be. But needless to say, it is still a great option at the lower end of the price point if you want to go to Botswana. So we do use a tented camp. We don't really use it for the photo safaris that we plan, but if there's anybody that likes to use that camp at a lower price point, we can still plan something for them. Then we head to Mashatu Lodge. Now, Mashatu Lodge is one of the lodges we use fairly often, most of the time, as well as Tuli Safari Lodge. And both of them amazing. Both of them have got air-conditioned rooms, really spacious rooms, beautiful, really comfortable. Both of them, Tuli Safari Lodge actually slightly a little bit different, but let's talk about Mashatu Lodge first. Mashatu Lodge overlooks the kind of Mupani Veld in front of the lodge, often have elephants move through there. The lodge itself, again, beautifully located on a little drainage line with a bit of a watering hole in front. And when we were there, we had elephants in front of the lodge drinking literally the whole day. So it's really a beautiful, beautiful spot. There's a main pool area where you can cool down in the middle of the day right next to the main lodge area where the bar is also situated, as well as the dining room. The dining areas, there's actually various places where you can dine at Mashatu Lodge. You can either dine in the dining room, or there's a separate dining room that goes towards the boma area. You can dine at the main lodge itself if the lodge is not too busy. And then there's this walkway that goes all the way adjacent to the river, and it goes up into a newly built kind of infinity pool that then again overlooks the same area that the main lodge overlooks. It's really, really beautiful. And you can sit there and enjoy a cocktail or a drink and, you know, get some sun, read your book, edit some photos, and then just overlook that watering hole that is very, very active. So Mashatu Lodge is really amazing. I love Mashatu Lodge for its location. It's kind of built on the ridge, so you dip down towards the Matabole River, and then you're like almost, I want to say core game viewing area, but that's not the right way to explain it, because the whole Mashatu Reserve is really incredibly densely packed with game, whether that's predators obviously, but there's great general game all over, and that's probably why there's such good predator viewing. So that is Mashatu Lodge. So that is about a 30-minute drive from Limpopo Valley Airfield. So if you fly in, about a 30-minute drive, you arrive there and they check you in. There's also a spa at Mashatu Lodge. If you do want to have a spa treatment, you can. So also added benefit after a long day of being on safari. So that is Mashatu Lodge. The other lodge that we really like to use is Tuli Safari Lodge. Now this lodge stole my heart the first time I saw it. It is built in such an amazing place. It's kind of on the opposite end of the reserve compared to where Mashatu Lodge is. And it's built in between these rocky outcrops that is just incredible. There's a area behind the lodge where you can actually walk up, and you probably go, if I have to fathom a guess, maybe 3 stories. I would say maybe 2 or 3 stories. You go up onto these rocky outcrops. They call it the Star Deck, and you can go and sit there and have a drink, or just watch the sun go down, or watch the stars at night. It's really beautiful. And all natural, like it's not a walkway that was built, so you actually walk up this little rocky outcrop, but it's open. There's no vegetation. It's an open rocky outcrop. The geology of that area um, is just, what's the right way to explain it? Is um, there's not a lot of growth vegetation between the rocky outcrops that are there, so it's very open. There's a couple of baobabs. You actually look over down onto a big baobab tree, so really, really, really special. The lodges itself it's a tented camp, if I can put it like that, but it's not your normal tented camp. It's a luxury tented camp. Very, very comfortable, beautiful, beautifully built. Very large king size bed. You've got your bathroom separate. You've got a little study area separate, a big bathroom on behind your bed, and you're just in between these massive old Mashatu trees. And Tuli Safari Lodge is just so special. There's just something about it that when you drive in there and you set foot into that lodge, it just feels different. It's just like it's right on the Limpopo River, which is the border between South Africa and Botswana. So it's really pretty special. There's something there. There's actually like a track that you can walk. Yeah, track, I guess you can call it, that you can walk from the lodge, and it goes all the way on the peripheral of the lodge. I think they said it's about 1.2 kilometers or so. So you can actually, if you want to go for a run, you can go there. And I think you might need to have a guide that goes with you, because you go all along the edge of that massive river. So there's often hippos and crocodiles and things like that. Even though it is fenced, there's a couple of lookout points where you actually can go and sit and relax. So that is quite unique about this lodge. It's got this little walkway track of sorts that you can actually use to go and walk, stretch your legs, or go and run if you want to burn some calories. The main lodge is pretty amazing as well. So as you walk in from the turning circle, again, you're under these massive Mashatu trees. And then on your left is dining space on the outside deck. There's also inside dining room. There's a curio shop on your right. And then as you walk through, you have the bar. Now, the bar is pretty cool. It is built around a Mashatu tree. I reckon there's probably about maybe 10 people that can fit if they go arm to arm, hand to hand around that tree. I'm fathoming a guess, but it's a pretty big tree. And you'll see the Mashatu trees in Botswana is pretty amazing. There's a bell at the bar, so if you ring that bell, you have to buy the whole lodge a drink. And they also have a very classic safari thing. There's only a few lodges that still do it, but it was very popular in the old days. They've got a scoreboard, so you come back from drive, and like each animal has got a point. So let's say, for example, a lion is 10 points, a leopard is 8 points, an elephant is 5 points, etc., etc. And then you tally your score at the end of the day. So some nice friendly competition between vehicles when you are at Tuli Safari Lodge, which I found is quite special. Then the other lodge that we do use is a lodge called Euphorbia. Now, Euphorbia is very much the high-end luxury lodge that Mashatu Game Reserve has got to offer. It's really spectacular. It's quite newly built. It only opened up a few years ago. And they really thought about everything. So where it is situated is incredible. It's situated on an area called White Cliffs. So you've got this kind of cliff or gorge that goes down into the Matabele River. You're super high, and you overlook the Matabele River and the Mashatu Game Reserve. It's really a beautiful, beautiful view. They actually have this little walkway that goes to what they call a star deck that is almost overhanging the cliff. And there you look out over the reserve onto the Matabele River, and it's really special. Like that they did not hold back on this lodge. It's really, really spectacular. And as far as luxury lodges go, in terms of price points, it's actually very, very well priced. It's not cheap, but it's not as expensive like it can become into the Delta. So I think there's a massive value for money at Mashatu Euphorbia Lodge. The lodge itself is built so cleverly. The rooms, as an example, All of them face the river except one kind of faces slightly off to the side, but it's got a beautiful view of a gorge and a baobab tree. But if I'm not mistaken, the form that the rooms take on from above is the shape of a mopani. Is it a mopani leaf? I can't remember, but very, very cleverly built. And the rooms itself is spectacular. The view that we had of the Matabole River is beautiful. The rooms are massive, spacious. There's everything that you can think of, from your mini bar to your coffee station to the iPad that they have in the room that you can use to communicate with the lodge, to the view, to the outside private plunge pool that overlooks the river, the lounges, the couches outside. It is really, really spectacular. I'll try and overlay some footage that I do have of the rooms so that you kind of get a bit of an idea. But it's really, really, really amazing. So if you are looking for a high-end Mashatu experience, then Euphorbia Lodge is where you want to be, and it's spectacular. And the great thing about Mashatu is it's a destination that you don't really just need to be there for 2 or 3 days and then have to go on. It's a very large reserve. It's about 45,000 hectares. So give or take about 95,000 acres. So there's a lot of the reserve that can be traversed in 3 or 4 days. So it's not like you are kind of isolated to a very small portion of the reserve. You've got the whole reserve to your use. And that makes it massive. It's really big. Like, a lot of the reserves are big, like 60,000 hectares. However, some of them you can only traverse, let's say, on 8,000 hectares or on 10,000 hectares. But in Botswana, in Mashatu, you've got access to the whole reserve. So very, very, very important component to think about. Okay, so that is the lodges, just briefly touching on it. And just something that people often want to know how the food is. The food at all of these lodges are really amazing. We stayed at all of them, and the food is really amazing. Obviously, Euphorbia is on a completely different level because it's super high end. And but all of the lodges' food is truly incredible. We really had an amazing time, and we couldn't really complain about anything that we had at all of those lodges. So I mentioned earlier that we are going back to Mashatu next year on a photo safari, and I can't wait because we're doing it very uniquely this year. One of the things at Mashatu that is unique for photographers, not only the game viewing, I'll get to the game viewing now, but is their photographic hides. Now, there are 2 photographic hides currently at Mashatu, and we are going to be using both of them. The one is called the Matibola hide, and that's a sunken hide at a watering hole, but you can only really use them in the mornings. You can use them in midday, and you can use them in the afternoons. It's not an overnight hide, so there's no lights or anything like that. So you go, you do a bit of a drive in the morning, and then you try and get there as early as possible so that you can hopefully see some of the animals coming to drink, and the same goes for the afternoon. You can do a midday session there as well. I haven't done one myself, but I believe it's quite productive, especially when it's quite warm. But also bearing in mind, depending on the time of the year, it can be quite warm for yourself as well in that hide. So we will definitely be doing one Matabola hide session. There's massive value there. Really love it. Then we are going to be doing 2 nights at the Lala Limpopo photographic hide. And for me, this is one of my favorite places in Mashatu. Really love it. You've got the ability to spend the whole night there. You can sleep there. They've built it in such a way that it is super, super comfortable and luxurious in there. There's 4 beds for our guests to sleep in. There's a fully equipped kitchen, a full bathroom, and then a sleeper couch, usually for the guide like myself that is staying in there. You also have one of the other Mashatu guides that will be there with you as well. Now, they often help with the lights and the technical things of the lights and how to change, etc. So as the sun goes down, you usually do a bit of a drive. Before sunset, you arrive at the lodge so that you can settle in, get your cameras ready, and be ready for the sun going down and animals coming in for a drink. And then as the sun goes down, we will start setting up the lights on the outside to whatever our needs are. Whether it's a bit of side light, whether it's a bit of backlight, whatever the need is. And then there's a control panel in the hide that can adjust the intensity of the light, subtle variations in color of the light. So it really lends itself for some very unique photographic opportunities. And I think when in the times that I've been there, if I have 2 hours of sleep when I'm there, it's a lot because you don't want to miss something. And sometimes it's super productive. We had hyenas come in, we've had elephants come in, we've had general game, wildebeest and zebra and everything. Lion sometimes comes in, but it's also luck of the draw to some extent because you have no control over what comes in to drink. But we also try to plan our safaris at the right time of the year so that we do have the best possibility of something coming to utilize that watering hole. If there's too much water standing around out in the field, then it doesn't mean they will not use it, but it just there's a chance that they might not come. So we go quite late into the season before the big rains comes. So we're going in early September, which I think is a great time. It should be pretty dry, and it's just before the rainy season. So I think we've got our timing really, really good for next year. So we are doing those two, and we are staying at Mashatu Lodge and at Tuli Safari Lodge. So it's going to be a 6-night, 7-day safari. We're going to be staying 3 nights at Mashatu Lodge. One of those nights will be in the photographic hide. And then we move over to Tuli Safari Lodge, where we stay 3 nights, and one of those nights will be in the overnight photographic hide. So it is really like well-rounded safari experience for photographers, and I'm really excited about it. I can't wait. Now, let's just quickly talk about the reserve. Let's talk about the game viewing, because ultimately we all know that's why we go. We want to go and capture amazing moments with these incredible animals in amazing scenarios, in incredible reserves in this beautiful continent that we call Africa. So the game viewing at Mashatu, like I mentioned right at the beginning, is arguably some of the best that I've had in a long time. It's really, really amazing. There's never a dull moment when you're out on drive. And I think a big component of the high predator densities are the great general game that they've got there. I mean, there are zebras and giraffe and impalas just everywhere. So there's great resources for predators. And then the area and the topography of the reserve really lends itself for us to be able to maneuver the vehicle in a way that you probably will be able to find animals and view animals in a much better way than you would in areas where it's slightly more dense, especially in the late season where it's still a bit dry. Those rolling, undulating hills you find in Mashatu and the drainage lines, there's a lot of open areas. To give you an example, when we were there, we were with a massive herd of elephants. I think there were maybe 80 elephants. And we were like right at sunrise, beautiful. And our guide Goms just put up his binoculars like this, and he looked into the distance and he just went, "Oh, there's a lioness. Oh, and she's dragging an impala. Oh, and there's 10 jackal behind her." So that is like you can see quite far, which makes it unique for kind of that bushveld safari experience. But you have to be at the right time of the year. And then you are allowed to off-road. So we were able to get into position. What makes it really great that time of the year photographically is that you've got a lot of dust that's being kicked up. You can position for backlight, you can position for sidelight, because it is fairly open in a lot of the areas, and you can maneuver the vehicle in the way you really want it. You can really give yourself incredible opportunities for some amazing photographs. I'll overlay some photographs that I took when I was there last time, and it's really special. The density of predators are really amazing. Like it rivals, if not better, the Sabi Sands. As just a pure example, we saw 9 different leopards in 4 days that we were there. 4 days, 4 nights, 5 days. And the guides were like worrying. They were like, "Oh my goodness, it's pretty quiet." And I was like, "Well, we just saw 9 leopards. It's not that quiet." We saw 3 different prides. We saw 2 kills, 1 lion, 1 leopard. Elephants everywhere. There's a reason why they call it Land of the Giants. I like to call Mashatu Land of Giants, but the home of the leopard, because the leopard viewing is just incredible. If you want to see leopards, it's really a place you want to be. So incredible elephant viewing. Elephants just everywhere, along with unique animals. We saw some bat-eared foxes, which was amazing. and a lot of eland as well, which is not something you always see. So like the game viewing is just non-stop incredible. And even with animals like giraffe and zebra, you can position yourself uniquely to get photos that you probably wouldn't have really gotten anywhere else. What we often also did was with like giraffe, we would get off the vehicle and kind of maybe walk 10, 20, 30 meters away and just go and sit and get a little bit lower on the ground, and photographing from a slightly different level. You can't always do it, but there are scenarios where you can jump off the vehicle, you have your guide with you, and we get a little bit lower to try and get unique angles to take some photos. So I mean, I can go on about Mashatu for so long, but I don't want to keep this podcast too long. I think I've covered quite a lot. I love Mashatu. I think it's one of the best safari destinations out there. We're going there 11th to 17th of September. I'll put a link down in the description. So if you are interested to join us, there's only 2 spots left on the safari. We're only going to be 4 guests plus myself. We're going to be 5. So it's a very small, intimate, exclusive group. We're going to be doing a lot of tuition about camera settings, and we're going to talk about composition, all the things that you can think about when we do wildlife photography. We're going to have time on the vehicle, in the hide, back at the lodge. We're going to be editing photos, looking at workflow, and really trying to get your portfolio as best as we possibly can. I'm not there to change what you do, but I'm there to help you get the best photo that you can take home. And Mashatu is definitely one of the places that you will absolutely get that right, whether that is from a game viewer or whether that is from a photographic hide, and maybe even at night, who knows. But if you're interested, send us a DM and join us on this incredible safari. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. Remember, please share this with your friends. Give us a follow, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, follow us on Spotify, share this far and wide. If you know of somebody that is looking to go on safari, let us know, and let's plan something. We've got some amazing trips lined up for next year. Cannot wait. But for now, that is Mashatu. If you've got any questions, put it in the comments. I'll try and get back to you as quickly as I possibly can. But for now, thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you all out in the field. Cheers, everyone.